Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. My name is Goldie. I am hosted today by, well, I'll say I'm being hosted. Like I'm lucky enough, right, to have Mr. Brad J.
Thank you.
On the show with me today. Very exciting to have you, of course, because not only are we a bit one of the same in the sense of what we do for a living, we utilize our personalities, utilize our voices to express what is happening in the world of sports, specifically action sports. And you by far have had a longer career in this than most of us collectively.
Thank you.
So when Brad did announcing start for you, and here we are in a current world situation where you took announcing from an aha moment in your life to 2020, and all of a sudden you have about as much announcing career as I do right
now. And that means nothing right now. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, geez. Do I go by where it started, or where do you want me to go with
Sure.
this right off the bat?
Your name is Brad J. You live in California. Where are you at?
Brad J. I live right between, right on the Santa Barbara and Ventura County line in California, right there on the ocean. Action sports announcer, oh my gosh, radio DJ since 94, 95, something like that was when I first got into it. Doing surf reports, doing radio. I worked at a skate company back in the late 80s, early 90s, Powell Peralta skateboards, Bones wheels. And that kind of got me into action sports. I wasn't announcing yet, but then that kind of made me think about that career. And then I kind of moved into doing a skateboarding role, and skateboarding led to snowboarding and led to DJing events. And then I got the job radio, kept leading into other radio events. And meanwhile, I'm traveling the world doing all these huge events, but I'm also holding down a radio show too as well. So it was like, it all just came up and just went crazy from like 94 to basically till 2000 was a big turning point with getting X Games, 2002, the Olympics, and then it just boom to where I am now. So.
Right. And I mean, if folks didn't know, you're the same guy who called Shaun White's Perfect 100 run. You're the same guy that they're hearing at the live show at the Olympics for big air and slopestyle and half pipe. They hear you on TV at the X Games. They hear you on TV at Dew Tour. We've seen you at the smaller events. And of course, I mean, out of all of that, any peak experience that comes off the top of the head, like, wow, this really brought me here in your life?
Oh, man. Yeah. What I really think about it, because I competed in amateur skateboarding, the Castle League, CASL, Castle Skateboarding, amateur stuff.
Yeah.
And I was in it, and there was an announcer, and I would hear him announce, like, when I'd have my skate run. And I always thought, like, oh, that'd be really cool. And then somehow I jumped on a mic one day and just started doing it. And it just, to me, it clicked. And the two kind of went hand in hand. And I slid into X Games by randomly getting the phone number of a lady who worked for ESPN, who I left a message for, Michelle, who's her name, and she actually called me back and gave me a shot. And that first X Games, 99, 2000, that was it. Is where from there, it just kept going and going. The first Olympics, then working for the Dodgers as a DJ, stepping to the court on the Clippers as an announcer for them for 7 to 8 years. Like, man, just where I come, I look at my resume sometimes and I freak out. So I'm like, what the heck? I really did all that?
Right. And now, and that's like the epiphany and the moment of this conversation that kind of brings us to our world stasis, is you have had a legendary career and you still got plenty in front of you.
Yeah.
However, the brakes have been put on our careers. Just before this phone call started, we were discussing a little bit about like things that we just lost. Like you just had the Olympics pulled out from underneath of you. You just had what other events right now that like you are looking forward to? Surf events, skate events, what other ones that you were like, dude, this is like awesome. This is what I get to go do. But now I get to stay at home and think about it.
And there's no surf. I mean, if there was surf out in front of my house, right behind me, I'd be the only guy out right now. And I'd be plenty of social distancing, but that's not the way it is. It's killing me, because what makes it even harder for me is back in July of last year, that's when I got into surfing. I really wanted to, I mean, I've been surfing for my whole life, but I never had that as an announcing job. I always had everything else but one of my most favorite sports of all, which is surfing. And I started to announce it in July at the Pan American Games, and ISA has hired me to do more and more. And that's how I got into the Olympics, to do it for Tokyo. And it's like the beginning of this new career where I've just ventured, finally getting surfing after all these years. And then it's pulled from underneath me. So it's bittersweet, like super happy I got them all. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I go for now? But, you know, the Olympics is postponed. It's going to run between May and August. That's a guarantee. Everything I've read through the people that I'm in contact with for the job, I'm thinking it's going to probably go early, probably around, you know, May of next year. But you got to think about that. So May
hit that
of 2021, right?
Mm-hmm,
Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then guess what? When you go around to February of 2022, that's Beijing. So those are two Olympics within a year of each other.
Right. This will be, if I can bring your memory back to 9/11, the reason why the Super Bowl is in February now is because of 9/11. So we have seen major sporting events changed, obviously because of world situations. World War II changed the Olympics. Early in the 1900s, there, because of world battles, there were Olympics canceled. So it is amazing because this is a time in our lives right now where being selfish about something like this would be just completely outrageous, because it's happening to everybody. So Brad, what do we do as announcers, MCs, personalities? Like, we're not essential, bro. Like, we can get kicked right to the curb right now, right? DJs, right? Like, things that are essential are food and bartenders, right? Like, that's what you need. And so where do we, like, I have my own set of ideas right now, and I'm actually expressing them, one of them right now, and that is connecting with people via this format, this screen right here. This is how we can stay together and communicate and talk and keep human interactions going. I think from my perspective, one of the biggest things we can do right now as out of work artists of sort is stay strong in the relationships that we have and continue to keep them, because be it that we go back to announcing or whatever after this whole worldly situation, that will be great. But if we didn't, what do we do next?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The world needs sport though.
It sure does.
So, I mean, it's gone. I don't even want to ever address the issue of it not being around, but for me, it sums it up in a selfish mode. Luckily, I worked a lot from like the beginning of December all the way through to where I worked at an adaptive surfing event, like when this was all starting to go crazy, and that was my last event. But I had worked so many events, so I was able to kind of stockpile a little bit to be a little bit prepared, which I think some announcers that are in my world who may not do that, because obviously, look, check to check, bro. That's how we do it, right? Mm-hmm. So many different ways. It's check to check for us. Mm-hmm. And so how many people are in a situation where they spread themselves thin and now they go into this part and now it's nothing. So I feel bad for everyone out there. I'm thinking eBay looks really good right now for me, but I'm actually pulling out the camera, and I've done a little show on YouTube for a while. You've seen some of the clips, like when I was in the Olympics in Korea. I'm going to dust that thing off and just start, like you said, getting connected this way. Mm-hmm. Like connecting with people, talking about what's going on, how you feel about it. Yet last night I got a call from a radio station I've been with 20 years. I'm on hiatus indefinitely right now.
Right.
20 years.
Yeah, I know.
And that was last night. Like, Thank you for my dinner. That was great for dinner.
Great. Actually, I tasted this a call ago, and now I don't.
You know what I said? You know what I said to him too? I go, well, and the lady who I work with, she's all, well, a lot of the people that are going on work furlough. And I go, yeah, paid furlough. And she goes, oh, not paid. And I go, well, it must be nice to have a bunch of vacation time built up. And then there was no response after that one right there. Like, meaning guys like us don't have that. We're freelancers, but I'm an optimist, and I think everything's going to come back, but it's going to take a little while. I feel like more like June, July, we maybe start seeing some smaller events. But then I think August, and by wintertime, which is great, my busiest season, I look forward to winter events, bringing people together too as well. us bonding now from being apart like this, you know?
I think that is a really big aspect of like what is being learned through this process is that speaking of sport the other day, before we got on hardcore lockdown, I was helping out some bartenders and people in the service industry. I was paying them to come help me like clean my house. And so we had to take a break after we did that. And we went out and threw Frisbee. There was just 3 of us. We're keeping it mellow. And anyway, so we go out and we throw Frisbee and we're in the street. And, you know, it was like doing it like when you were 9 years old, right? Like a car would come and we'd be like, car. And then the car would drive by and we'd wave it. Yeah, we'd wave at them. They'd wave at us. And it was like this sort of moment like that we all kind of realize right now, like the world has slowed down, right? Like nobody's in a rush right now to get anywhere. Nobody's running around to be like, oh, I got to get this email out. Like traffic is obviously pretty nil. So like, you know, like navigating if you're going out at all has been just like really nice.
Oh my gosh, you're right. So crazy here. Like no traffic at all. Like in the afternoon, like I'm so used to that. It's like if you got to run to the store, man, you're just like, whoa, like, whoa, that's just never like that. So
right. And so I think what we're seeing is that humanity right now is showing its free will in the way that it likes to express itself. Like when we're not rushed, when we're not being pressed, when we're like living a life that actually makes us fulfilled, it seems as though we're like really a lot nicer to each other. And I've like really enjoyed that. And, you know, I think that is something that I personally am taking from this time is that right now, you know, you said something a moment ago, you're like, I'm going to check into eBay. I mean, I don't want to be your devil's advocate, but the thing is like nobody's spending, nobody's buying, you know, like
people are home.
Yeah, they are looking. They are window shopping. Yeah,
that's
true.
Deal, maybe they want an Olympic uniform from 2010.
Right. So, you know, coming out of it, maybe you're setting yourself up for a success there. But I think right now, I mean, I've got DJs that are like scratching it, like, I got to find a gig. And it's like, dude, there's no gigs. There's no gigs.
Yeah.
Like either learn how to like garden or start like, you know, farming or do something functional on this planet. But like the fact that you can talk about it is not going to do anyone any good anyhow.
No.
So, and that's like a realist view. I'm not a pessimist. I'm just like, hey, you know, like you got to know how to do stuff. Like, can you go get water and purify it and drink it? You know, that's a thing.
Yeah. I think for guys like us though, doing events, there's time when you have downtime for a week or 2 weeks where like you're just doing random stuff. Like you're going here, you're riding your bike or whatever you're doing. You're doing other stuff. So I think for us, it's just an extended off time. Like for me, it doesn't really seem any different to me where I don't see anything foreseeable on the future right now, but I'm not looking at it as like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I got to do something. Like I'm just, all right, I guess I'll go ride my bike today.
Sure.
Put some miles on. Like
take some time. So
you know, pull out those weeds that are out in the front yard, you know, clean things up a little bit.
Right. And with that optimist view, we've got about a minute left to go.
Nice.
So with that thought is we're coming back. With your perspective, we're coming back. I don't know what day, but at some point, a scheduled event is going to go, and you're going to get in your car, and you're going to drive to it, and you're going to hold the microphone, and you're going to smile and be like, wow, we're doing it again. So how can one discover and find Brad J on the internet, on the social medias? Where do they find you to hire you? We know that you've got action sports from frisbee golf to kendama held down.
The bocce ball. Or
exactly. So
I've announced tennis, dude. I've announced tennis.
Yeah. Rolling out there. Was that with Christy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, the tennis gear doesn't work with me.
Yeah, I understand. It can't always be for everyone. So how do we find you? Where on the internet?
Super easy. Just at Brad JAYMC. At Brad JAYMC. That's, you know, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, at Brad JAYMC.
Right. And if you can't find him there, you just ask somebody at an action sports event and say, hey, I got to get a hold of Brad J. And they'll be like, look up in the booth. He's right there.
Hey, and you know what? I'll be posting some stuff here too, and I'll be tagging you to it too as well. So I'll be putting some videos up on YouTube, back on my Tame Your Talent channel on YouTube as well.
I love it. Yeah, so follow that. So, Brad, thank you so much. It's always an honor and awesome to connect again. It's just
bro.
It's like real. All right, brother. Thanks for being on 15 Minutes of Fame, and we will see you in the surf.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.